The reason why I said I want to record this is because even some of us, while attending seminars like this, along the way, uy, biglang nagkakaroon ng problema with the, with the signal, with our own signal. Biglang the speaker is frozen. And so we ourselves, professionals as we are, we encounter difficulties. Let us be forgiving with them as we are forgiving with ourselves. And then the reason why our job is noble is because we foster team spirit. Continue fostering team spirit. Continue making them think like a team. This will address the problem I pointed out earlier of feeling of isolation. Continue thinking of ways of making them do work as pairs or in groups of threes or in group of fives. But when you do that, please make them do not group project, but how do we call it? The collaborative effort, no? Um, that you, for example, you make them work in three groups of three or team of three. Sir, bakit three? Kasi yung isa gagawa ng PowerPoint, yung isa magre-report, yung isa sasagot ng questions. Okay? Assign someone to do the PowerPoint, assign someone to do the written report or to deliver the report, and then assign someone to answer the questions. In other words, you're dividing them into groups according to tasks they will do, that they will perform. There are group projects that are a scandal, that are unacceptable. Group project class, 5 kayo, tapos isa lang ang magtatrabaho, yung valedictorian. Kaya gusto nila dun sa team niya kasi siya lang ang gagawa ng lahat ng project. And then all of them will get the same grade. That is a scandal. That is wrong. And we have to put a stop to practices like that. Group project, isa lang naman pala yung gumawa. Yung apat, nakisakay lang, nakiangkas, and they still all get the same grade. No. When you make them do group work, you keep in mind the number of members of the team, and each one will have an expected output. Yung isa magre-report, yung isa gagawang PowerPoint or video, yung isa sasagot ng questions, yung isa susulat ng final paper as their group report. Okay, very good. Then that's collaborative effort. And everyone is really working in a team. Hindi yung nakiangkas lang. So, that's a very important principle. I've been going around the Philippines telling teachers, please stop exercise like that. Yung 5 ang members, isa lang ang nagtrabaho, lahat sila pareho ng grade ang nare-receive. No, we even have to follow certain rubrics in their grading. Number 9, our task, our job as teachers is noble because we are able to cultivate love and friendship. Let's continue looking for ways, even online, by which we can cultivate love and friendship. Uh, Especially when I talk about class advisory next week, we will be discussing that. Forge a class spirit, class unity, class camaraderie. Even in the online setup, there are many ways that we can do that, that we can continue achieving that even in this online setup. And then we motivate constructive behavior. That's what we do as teachers. That's why we are a noble profession. Let's look for ways by which we can continue motivating constructive behavior, that they will be productive, that they will work with a team, work with their classmates, and develop their hard work, their industriousness, their sense of responsibility, their respect in many ways. Whatever you can think of as strategy to continue motivating constructive behavior, that's making our work more noble than ever. So, our conclusion, hindi excuse ang pandemic. We can continue forming character of the young people, even in the online setup. Kaya nga sabi nila, itong teaching, ay, it's the most effort-consuming profession of all time. Those of you who have been teachers for many years, and then you've been involved in, let's say, investigating disciplinary cases. Naalala ninyo? uh, Class advisor ka, tapos may nangyari sa klase, sa class mo of bullying, nagreklamo yung parents sa principal, and the principal asks you to, can you investigate this matter? Do you remember the feeling? Yung paggising mo pa lang sa umaga, naiisip mo yung problema na yon, and you feel like stressed already. Hindi ka pa nga nakakaligo sa umaga. Naiisip mo na yung problemang yon, na you need to investigate that student, you need to sit down with that student, you need to talk to the parents of that other person. You time consuming, naging 24/7 ang trabaho as a teacher. There's no more logging in, logging out. Kahit pag nag-ring ang bell for dismissal, naiisip mo pa rin, tomorrow ang schedule mo of meeting with the other parents. Kailangang ipaliwanag mo sa kanila bakit isususpend ang kanilang anak. And you feel so stressed out. You're affected. Kahit kumakain ka na ng dinner kasama ng mga pamilya mo, part of your mind is still nandun sa problema na yon. Teaching, running a school, running a class is the most effort-consuming profession of all time. That's why we are like this. But at the same time, we are the most noble of professions. We continue on teaching because we are not just preparing students to pass a test, to pass a quiz, to pass a subject. We're really preparing them to be the best human beings they can possibly be by teaching them math, by teaching them English, by teaching them science. Okay, so let's remind ourselves, I have to maintain high standards for the benefit of my students. Whether it is online or face-to-face, I have to choose to be the best teacher I can possibly be. Why? Kasi kung wala ako, paano na ang mga bata? Kung hindi ko papagpatuloy ang aking character building online, paano na ang mga bata ngayon? This specific generation of kids. Without teachers, our young and upcoming generations would find themselves in a much darker place. That's why we can say, mas kailangan nga tayo ngayon nitong mga nabiktima nitong pandemic na suddenly they are online generation. They are ang mas nakakaawa yung mga nag-graduation, di ba? It's supposed to be one of the happiest experiences of marching down the aisle and your parents there in the audience applauding, almost in tears, many of them in tears, kasi yan ang katapusan ng kanilang paghihirap ng napakaraming taon, and they're deprived of it. I mean, sure, may schools are organizing online ceremony, virtual graduation, but it's just different, no? I mean, you and I know it's just different. And my heart bleeds for these students na nagpo-post in Facebook, thank you to all the people who helped me, and then their picture wearing their toga, and then nandun sa likod nila yung TV screen with their names flashed on the screen. And naawa ako kasi they've been deprived of one of the greatest moments. So, they are victims too of this situation, as we too are victims of this situation. But let's continue on. Kasi kung hindi, paano na yung mga ibang kabataan? Paano na yung younger generation? The world will be a darker place if we do not form character, if we do not mold minds, if we do not help them make sense of all these things that are happening. After all, sabi nga ng topic namin kahapon, some of you were there, we're teaching students, not subjects. We are teaching thinking, feeling human beings. Okay? Thinking, feeling human beings. Ramdam natin ang kanilang paghihirap. Ramdam natin na they have been deprived of the happy days of high school life. I mean, di ba, yung high school, the reason why it is very memorable, high school life, oh my high school life. Every memory kay ganda, sabi ni Sharon, ni Megastar. um, yeah, but they have been deprived of that. They don't have those breaks where they are with their friends, where they store up a lot of memories, happy memories that they, many years from now, we look back to as the happy days. Kahit na sabihin nating nagkaroon ng bullying, problems, awayan, minsan, misunderstandings, no. 20 years from now, they will look back to those as those were the happy days, happier days of our life. And they've been deprived of that. Yun ang ating mga estudyante, yun ang ating mga tinuturuan dito sa, kahit dito sa online situation ngayon. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips for building character in online schools, in online setup. Number one, in a few minutes, we're going to give ourselves a little break because we are not machines. We too need a bit of rest. Number one, keep the pillars of character alive. Yan. Di ba sa eskwelahan ninyo, meron kayong mga tinatawag na core values. Yan. PAREF schools, schools, Parents for Education Foundation schools like Westbridge, and we have friends here who are with us now, Southdale in Cebu, Springdale in Cebu, Northfield in Antipolo. Meron kayong virtues of the month. Meron kayong core values. Meron kayong, I mean, all schools would usually have this. Keep them alive. The pandemic, the online setup is not an excuse for us now to say, ay, hindi na tayo pwede mag-virtue commentary. Hindi na tayo ngayon pwede mag-virtue assembly. We can continue and we have to find ways of being able to continue doing them. For example, if you have not done it yet, if you don't have those VOMs, Virtue of the Month, or core values, well, as a class, agree on tenets, agreements, must-haves, requirements for the class to run smoothly. This must come from the students themselves. So how do you do it? Um, in your first meeting, your online meeting, okay? Agree with the students. Okay, class, we're going to do the following. We're going to do synchronous classes on this day, this day, a week. Now, let's have an agreement that when I say log in, will start at 1 o'clock our class, please log in by 5 minutes to 1. Don't just log in at 1. Log in at 5 to 1 so that I can greet you all and I can check on who is coming in. In other words, you give them 5 minutes. Agree on that as part of your punctuality, as part of your tenet, as part of your character building that you're teaching them punctuality, professionalism, preparedness, um, etc. And make the students draw up, in fact, okay, class, you would know better the difficulties, the challenges of going online and attending classes online. Can you draw up? Let's draw up now our agreements on how we want our classes to run. Okay? Tapos, it may come from them. Sir, can we have a break? 3-minute break lang, um, either to go to the washroom or some of them will need to log back in or to refresh their Wi-Fi. I mean, really, we cannot help it. Sometimes there's a need to do something like that. So you agree with the students on how you want the class to run, um, with the agreement that I need to be able to cover as much of the um, coverage, as much of the syllabus as we can. I don't like it when, you see, you're telling them what you also don't like. I don't like it when students come in and out. So please message me, make it as part of the tenet, as part of the agreement. Message me if you are having difficulties with your signal. Okay, send me a message there, or we have a Viber group, or we have an FB Messenger group. Please post there. Um, I My Wi-Fi went. I was logged out. I will go back in. I'm trying to go back in. It's raining hard here now, and the signal is very weak. So there is a system by which you don't have to think, ano ba to? Nagpapalusot lang ba tong batang to? Or merong tayong sistema with an agreement. That's part of setting the stage. And then every agreement of the why you want this punctuality, why you want this preparedness, you associate it or you connect it with the pillars of character, the core values, the virtue of the month, the what we stand for as a school, etc. Okay, very much like the strategy of Hal Urban, which I will talk about when we come back from a little break. Just it's now 3:59. I've been talking for an hour and 2 minutes. So let's just give ourselves a break. Some need to get to the washroom, some need to go get water, or some simply need a little breather. Here's just two songs from Libera, one of the best children's choirs in the world, to give us a bit of rest. Okay, that's good enough break for us. We continue on because we still have a number of strategies to discuss. Very much like the strategy of Hal Urban in starting the school year. You can do it online. What is the strategy of Hal Urban? He would make the students describe what do you not like in a class. This time we will ask them, what do you not like in an online class? Make them list them down. They will talk about they don't like disrespect, they don't like uh, very difficult how do you call these, very difficult things being made them to do. Okay, you can make them list all those things down, the things they do not like in an online class, and then make them come up with another list, things they want to see, things they want um, to be able to experience in an online class. It comes from them. So the next time around, for example, you say they don't like it when there's an online class and everybody is late. Okay, it came from you. Let's commit ourselves not to make those things happen. And then those things that they like to see, attitude, behavior, discipline, uh, make them come up with that list. It came from them. So the next time around that somebody doesn't show up on time, no need to get angry. Just remind the person, didn't we commit ourselves to the following things? Those things that we want to see in an online class. We don't like it when students turn on their microphone, causing distraction. Okay, include that there. Next time somebody does that, don't get angry, don't get mad. You just have to remind the person, didn't we agree that we will not distract others with the irresponsible unmuting of our microphone, etc. So um, it came from them. And that's part of democratic process in the classroom. They like it when they have choices. I mean, it's their choice. They were the ones who drew up the list. Okay. And then we talked earlier about the virtue of the month. Keep the virtue of the month alive. If it's not virtue of the month because you only have, let's say, four virtues, virtue of the quarter, and then make them talk about it, make them write it on the papers, on every submission that they will make, um, for assignment, online assignment, online projects. Make sure they write the motto of the month, or simply virtue of the month, and then whatever it is, and then start every month talking about the virtue of the month. So keep it alive, because I know many of you, many of the schools already have it in place, a system by which they emphasize, highlight a specific virtue of the month, or virtue of the quarter, or virtue of the semester, or whatever pillar of character you have in your school. Okay. You remember we talked about the Kohlberg's 6 levels of moral development. I will not discuss it in detail, just to remind you, because the strategies I'm going to share with you are all geared towards helping the students reach sixth level of moral development, the highest level of moral development. Kohlberg tried to find out bakit ba nagpapakabait ang isang bata, and he discovered the following: the people go through four, or rather 6 levels of moral development. The lowest reason why someone will behave is, I don't want to get into trouble. I don't want to be punished. That's why teachers will have to resort less and less on punishment. Kasi gagawin ng bata ang tama just to avoid punishment. That's the lowest reason. That's the lowest level of moral development. Second level is reward system. I want a reward. So, gagawa sila ng tama, I better submit my assignment, my online homework on time kasi may reward daw eh. I better do what the teacher is saying kasi may reward daw eh. Okay, that's better than just avoiding penalty, punishment, sanction, but still we can do better. Third is, I want to please somebody. And there are people who are like that, yung sip-sip, ginagawa lang ang tama to please the teacher, to please the parent, to please somebody. That's third level. Fourth level, I follow the rules. So, less and less we should be saying things like, because that's the rule. Just do it because it's the rule. Okay, that's better than the first three, but we can still do better than this. Fifth, why are you coming on time for the class? I have to be considerate of the other people who are also doing their best to be punctual. Why are you studying hard? I have to be considerate of my parents' sacrifice. Nagbabayad pa din sila ng tuition. I have to be considerate of the sacrifices of my teacher. Pinaghirapan niya tong online class na binibigay niya sa amin. That's the fifth. And if we can make everyone reach at least fifth level of moral development, ay ang ganda na. That, in fact, by itself is character. That's empathy. That's discipline. That they will sacrifice their whims, their likes, for the sake of another person. Considerate of other. But here's the sixth level, which is what will dictate the other strategies we're going to talk about. Why are you behaving? Because I have a personal code of behavior and I follow it. Because we have core values in the school and we live by them. We live by the core values. Because we have an oath of a Southridge gentleman and I live by that oath. That's sixth level, where they behave not because they want to avoid a punishment, not because they want a reward, not because they're just trying to please you, not just because they're following rules, or even not just being considerate of you or other people, but because they are guided by principles. So, those are the 6 levels. And many of the rules, many of the strategies now are based on, we have to make the students level 6 thinkers. Okay? Level 6 thinkers. And the pillars of character precisely are all about that you make them live according to values, principles. That's why it's even good in an online setup to make the students draft a compact for excellence. It's one of the strategies I taught in the past days of these sessions, these seminars. Make them write a compact for excellence. Class, ano ang ating pwedeng maging agreement? Yung bang you will even swear or take an oath or pledge and we will recite it at the after our prayer to start a class, we will recite it that in our class we will work hard, we will be considerate of the sacrifices of others, we will study hard even without being told. So whatever it is, draft it or craft it with the help of the students and make them recite it, take it as a pledge, flash it on screen, and together as a class we recite it at the start of every meeting. Number two, your rules set the tone. Be clear about the ground rules for your online classes. Specify what you expect to see from your students and what is unacceptable. What is unacceptable to you? Um, for me, it's unacceptable that you do not attend the classes, you don't show up, you don't send a message, you don't even inform me what happened to you, and then you just suddenly, after 4 days of not hearing from you, you show up simply asking, sir, give me what I missed. That's self-centered, that's selfish, that's uh, my expectation, you will make it clear to them. My expectation is, if for example you encounter technical difficulties with your Wi-Fi, I don't think that will be forever. I'm sure you will still have a way of contacting your classmate, calling up your classmate by landline, by cell phone, calling up your classmate, asking what you missed, and if there is any submission to make, or if there is anything you need to study for, you will need to prepare for. I always tell my class, for example, class, even if you're absent in the last meeting, when we resume our session, I expect you to have asked your classmates about what you missed. Don't come telling me that you were absent last meeting and that you did not know about the assignment. Be responsible enough to find ways of being able to get information from your classmate from, and that's why it's good to have a buddy system. If one of the if one of you is absent, don't worry, you have a buddy that you can contact, or that buddy will not even wait for you to contact you. He will have the initiative to inform you. You were not in class today, you missed this. You need to read this. Prepare for a quiz on this chapter in the next meeting. A buddy system will do a great deal of good for everyone in the class. Discuss the rules with the students as well as the character traits that are embodied and built by each rule. Okay? So it's up to you. You are the teacher. You are the one who will set the tone to do the rules that you're going to put in place. Maybe many of them are not even rules. They are procedures. We talk about this in classroom management, because rules, you should have only a few that they can memorize. I mean, how can you expect them to follow a rule that they don't even memorize? So rules, there should be few, but procedures, you can have as many, for as long as you teach them and rehearse them with the students. Be sure to be a good example yourself as well. I mean, you're going to set rules, make sure you're the first one to copy it. I mean, make sure you're the first one to model it. For example, you don't want to hear profanities, bad words, and even in an online setup like this. Um, okay, then make sure we model it ourselves, that we will never resort to foul language, bad words, etc. Complete your own work on time, be neat and punctual, and always show respect for others. So this is an example of online classroom rule that you can put in place, and therefore we ourselves will make sure that we complete our work on time, we are neat, we are punctual, and we also show respect for the others in the class. Allow students to suggest helpful rules that could benefit the class. That this was related to the number one that I pointed out earlier. Try and stay positive. I mean, we're already surrounded by so many negativities, bad vibes because of this pandemic, because of this quarantine, because of this lockdown, because of the bad news we hear about vaccines not being delivered or being delivered late or not being available. We hear about community pantry being shut down. For what reason? I mean, we read about uh, political bickerings already beginning in preparation for the election next year, which is absurd. I mean, while people are suffering, people are talking politics. But we have to try and stay positive with our students. We have to try and set the tone of hope that things are going to get better, that things will be, that we are going to survive all these, whatever kind of government we will have, things will still work out well in the end. It's good people who will straighten things up. So we have to help um, creating a more hopeful environment, atmosphere, because the world is already full of negativities. Praise students who exhibit good behavior and good character. John, you've never been late. Good job. That's the kind of attitude I want to see, no? Joanna, I received your project, your submission. Fantastic. I could see that you really put in a lot of hard work there. I'm now excitedly looking forward to the submission of your other classmates. Please make sure, in the first place, you submit it on time, as we agreed in my email, etc. So you are praising students who are exhibiting good behavior and good character for everyone to hear. And that's an encouragement for them to do the same, to also show good behavior and display good character. Employ a reward system. This is not the same as the reward of I better study because the teacher. No, the reward system here is what you are rewarding is the good deeds. What you are rewarding or giving recognition to is character, not necessarily just the person. And I've given so many strategies related to this. In advisory seminar, we will talk again about it. In the classroom management and in the advisory seminar, in the strategies for character formation, the good deeds bowl. I like it when the students are trying very hard to fill up a bowl of good deeds, because every time I catch a good deed being done, that deserves a marble in our good deeds bowl. That deserves if you don't have those marbles, a pebble in the good deeds bowl. Every time you catch someone doing a good deed, you put a marble, a pebble, or even just those papers that you form into a ball. And as soon as they fill up that bowl with good deeds that you have caught, then the class is up for a reward. Or the trophy technique, this time around, it's by rows. This week, the row or the group of students, it's group competition or group, um, yeah, it's like a group competition. The group that recited the most, that performed the best in the quizzes, that submitted all the assignments on time is group number whatever it is. The trophy this week belongs to group number 5. I mean, it can be literally a trophy or virtual trophy or simply an announcement. The trophy this week belongs to. Let's see whose group will get the trophy next week. I love a class where students are trying to outdo each other in doing good. I talked about the star tag system, the good deeds journal, the anonymous compliments, the compliments game. Let me just mention the compliments game. Okay, class, we're going to end now our online class. 2 minutes before dismissal, let's play the compliments game. Anyone can unmute himself and give a compliment to someone, um, but you have to indicate in the chat box if you want to give a compliment so that I will call you. Okay, now Joanna, it's your turn. You want to give the call. I want to compliment John who lent me a ball pen or who lent me um, the, the digital handout that I missed last meeting, that he passed it on to me. Thank you, John. And everybody says, thank you, John. Good job, John. Anybody else? I want to compliment Joey, who um, I missed the quiz last meeting because suddenly my internet went down. But Joey informed me about the quiz, and so I studied it on my own. Thank you. So you spend the last 2 minutes people complimenting each other for good deeds done. It works different ways. It The one who is complimented will think, "Wow, I didn't realize it's a big deal for them. I'm going to do more like that next time around." The others will think, "I'll be the first one to help whoever is going to be absent next time in helping that person to catch up or to help that person get updated in what he missed." No? So uh, the complimenting each other, ending the class with the high note of people saying good things about good deeds done by each other, that's a fantastic class. That's forming character. That's empathy 101. That's what it means to um, give recognition to character. Number three, encourage good role models in our online classes. Find ways of being able to encourage role models because whether you like it or not, students choose role models, whether it's the adult or the teacher, or whether the adult or the teacher helps or not, they, the students, choose role models. Make an effort to point out positive character role models in history, literature, science, the arts, whatever subject we're teaching, we can bring in to our discussion in class certain personalities, historical figures, literary characters who show good character, who show, um, well, being good role models for the young people. Or, especially now that we are online, wow, there's no problem with being able to invite on screen um, a father, a mother, another student, a graduate of your school to talk to the class. Um, Talk to the class about how is your college now? How are you doing in that university? And these are role models that you make the students look up to or listen to. Take advantage of the technology that is available for us. And then, in fact, if you cannot invite, there are many recordings of TED Talks, YouTube videos of graduation speeches, valedictory speeches that, well, display really good role models for the young people to hear, to listen to. Because if we don't present them with appropriate role models, ang iniisip nilang role models are the celebrities and the sports um, athletes, which according to Macan Erickson Youth Study is the case with Filipino youth. They look up to daw to celebrities and athletes. You don't need to know. I mean, I don't need to tell you. they're not exactly, many times, the best role model to present to our young people. Deliberately teach about people that your students can emulate, can copy, can set as role models. I mentioned this earlier. Talk about the headlines of the day, the politicians who make a mess in the news that you heard last night, the other night, world leaders that are displaying character or lack of character, and talk to the students why. Talk it over with the students why you think that person is not a role model, that other one is a role model. Ask the students if the person's words match their actions, and then make the students realize you have to grow up men of words, men of your words, or women of your words. That when you say something, that's really what you mean. There's no attempt at deception. Discuss with the students how life is improved with good character traits. Whatever subject we're handling, we can bring up discussions like this. Scientists, mathematicians, literary characters, historical characters who figured in World War One, World War Two, the revolution. There are characters there that we can highlight for the students to be able to understand what heroism means, what uprightness means, what perseverance means, what hard work means, etc. Number 4, kahit online tayo, insist on respect. Insist on respect in the way they deal with you and the way they deal with the classmates. Sorry. Your online room should be firmly established on a foundation of respect. Why they need to raise their hand or give you a message that they want to recite before they start reciting. Or if somebody is already reciting, we all listen, we pay attention. You don't stand up from your desk and that's the time you go to the washroom. No. Respect means that we follow um, rules of common sense and decency in dealing with other people, in dealing especially with authority. Self-respect and the respect for others are the basis of all other positive character traits. Negativity and abuse of any kind should not be tolerated and met with appropriate consequences. Online. We're talking here of online negativity or abuse. And even in the online setup, create an anti-bullying campaigns or cyberbullying, anti-cyberbullying campaigns. Or um, here, never fail to extol the virtues of treating all classmates with respect and dignity, face-to-face or online. Number 5, build a caring community. And there is a way of being able to do it even in an online setup. A caring attitude can be encouraged by having a zero tolerance policy on name calling and character assaults or bullying. And again, as I said, even in the online setup, virtual setup, there is a way of putting this in place. Make sure that all students are included in activities. And so we have to be always creative, always looking for ways of getting students to be working in teams, working in pairs, getting a partner and giving them time to discuss in the breakout session room or outside of the class session. And then that when we meet again next time, they will report on what you asked them to discuss, share the inputs that they got, and then make them um, see that they're not alone, they're not isolated, they're still connected with their classmates, they're still connected with the whole class. In remote learning, this is a very important principle. Children are missing out on same age to peer interactions that are necessary to shape their social behaviors. Therefore, anything that we can make the students do online now that will encourage peer interactions is a great service we're doing to them in forming their character, in building a caring community. Teachers can assign students to groups to work on online projects. I mean, that can be done. After all, they've been doing it even before the pandemic. I mean, really, I tell you, they call each other up about the work they need to do, about the projects, about the performance task, about the diorama that the group is supposed to produce. They do that even online. Allowing students to have online role play on a regular basis can help them become better team players. Putting up skits, putting up performances, um, making videos as a group, as their output, for example, or preparing a PowerPoint presentation. All these are meant to create that caring community. And then, why not bring the random acts of kindness concept to the digital sphere? I mean, the students, I'm sure, can creatively come up with many brilliant ideas on how they can do racks, random acts of kindness in the online sphere. Um, I usually flash this when I'm talking about creating a kind and caring classroom where you give students um, challenges. You can spend a kindness week. And then in that 1 week, the students in the campus will try to do as many of these challenges, ranging from simply smiling at 25 people, slipping a nice note in your friend's backpack, complimenting 5 people, picking up 10 pieces of trash. Let's move to another part of the slide. Making a kind poster for cafeteria helpers, showing appreciation to a counselor or mentor, saying good morning to 15 people, etc., etc. Let's go to the third quadrant. Give an apple, step up for someone in need, make and display a kindness matters sign, carry your friends' books, and then the last quadrant there, learning to say hello in a new language, bring a flower to the office staff, etc. So give them something like this. And then the challenge is come up with 50 acts of kindness that they can do online, whether it is emailing a grandparent that they have not contacted in a long while, posting a message in Facebook for a past teacher and greeting them, blessed Sunday. Uh, so make them come up with 50 online or digital racks, random acts of kindness. Or you can just ask them to formulate 20. And then from the 20 that each one will produce, you put together a list of 50. From those 20 that each one produced, put them together, and you can actually come up with 100, a list of 100 acts of kindness. And then spend a week where you get students to challenge themselves to be able to do as many of those random acts of kindness, which are all digital, within that week. Number six, volunteerism. The pandemic is not an excuse for student leadership not to function. I mean, um, students should continue being able to do outreach, community service, leadership activities, highlight the virtues and importance of volunteerism, especially now when we find ourselves in this situation where many people are suffering. And then we keep on reminding the students that, sure, you're suffering because you're not allowed to go out, you are not allowed to go to the malls, but wait, there are others who don't even have food for the next meal. to eat. They even drop out of, there are people who dropped out of school altogether because of this situation, because their parents lost job, because they don't have a source of living. So there are many people who are suffering greatly because of this situation. Start online volunteer programs among your students, especially among the older ones, that they plan out, that they strategize, that they implement. I'm very happy hearing about schools, for example, that organized fundraising for the jeepney drivers in their community during the start of the pandemic, when really they were left with no income for months. And then some schools that are able to manage a community pantry for their janitors, security guards, maintenance men, and their families. You see, creativity is the way, but the heart is key. Sure, young people today can be very, very creative, but if they don't have the heart for service, for volunteerism, for helping the poor and the needy, that creativity is going to end up in TikTok. It's going to end up in Instagram, in more artsy uh, pictorials and selfies. We have to channel their creativity to service by giving them the heart for the poor and making them always realize there are many people counting on their generosity. I mean, look at this list of possible volunteer activities they can do online. Community pantry, we have heard a lot about that, and people can be raising funds through Facebook, through Instagram. Fund Me initiatives for COVID victims. I mean, we have to be always on the lookout for our community members, student, parents who may get sick. Some we will help by raising funds. Others, it's enough to get many people to pray, to accompany them with our prayers, prayer warriors. Or given the situation where many people are getting um, depressed, affected negatively, spread good vibes online, spreading good news. Or I found a Twitter page that is called um, "You Will Smile When You Watch This Video." So that's what they do. They just collect videos that can make people smile and even laugh. Wholesome. So that's spreading good vibes. Mental health checkups. I mean, I like it very much. In the University of Asia in the Pacific, they have a something like a weekly survey of the students. How are you? I mean, they are being checked on. Is anybody getting sick? Is anybody getting needing special assistance, help, support? That's mental health checkups. I mean, the pandemic is not an excuse for us not to continue trying to create that community. Diba? Many schools want to call themselves, we are a family. Ayan. Our school is one big happy family. Okay, but a family, normally, you check on everyone. Is everyone okay? Is everyone does anybody need any special help? And we'll see if we can actually help, or we can just get everybody to pray about it or pray for it. Fact checking for the good. Now that there are people who are using social media to spread lies, to distort the truth, to revise history, we need online warriors who will fight for the truth, who will do fact checking, who will tag fake news that are being spread around about COVID, about the vaccines, about politics. Vote right campaign. Now is a time to really educate people about voters' right and the right to vote and voting correctly, trumping the trolls. Really, there are people being paid to spread lies, to distort the truth, to um, then we need warriors for the truth who will put a stop to the peddlers of fake news. You see, there are many things that the young people can get themselves involved in being of service to society. And here are more ideas: encouragement for teachers, support for teachers grappling with technology. I mean, many of your students are far more expert in the use of technology. Get them to be to form part of a support team. You need any help in your um, doing videos, um, posting your online materials. There are these students who are available for consultation. You can ask for their support. You can email them. You can get them to even give you tutorials, or students who are grappling with internet. It's very wonderful. In some schools, I know they had fundraising to have a common fund for students who need financial help just to get data, just to get their Wi-Fi going. Support for all. Everybody needs support. And in one way or another, I'm sure students can come up with ideas on how to be of help to others. Support school staff grappling with joblessness. I mean, it's true. The ladies selling in your cafeteria are left jobless. The cafeteria is closed. The bookstore staff, the school is not going to ask them to report for work. They have nothing to do. They're left jobless. The school bus drivers, I mean, so many people right now are left with no source of income. Let's make the students think of how they can help them, how they can support them. And yes, we have to make the students concerned about school enrollment. I mean, many schools right now are grappling with low enrollment. Let's make the students own the project of campaigning for enrollment, marketing the school, spreading word about the good things about our school. We should. That should be part of their, I don't know, service to the school. Whatever it is, we have to open their horizon to the reality that they have a lot of things to be grateful for, and they have a lot of things to contribute for the good of others, for the good of the school, for the good of people. You see, creativity is the way, but heart is the key. And maybe it's we, adults, teachers, who are capable of giving them that heart, making them realize, Uy, stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about others, about your school, about the teachers, about the uh, auxiliary staff who lost their job, who are now grappling with the next meal. At least ikaw, ang problema mo lang yung data, yung internet mo. And there are people, ang pinoproblema nila is, saan sila kukuha ng susunod na lunch, susunod na dinner? We open the eyes of our young people. And then, character in action. Let's get them moving, working, doing, because character is not just about knowing what is right, it's especially doing what is right. Throughout the school year, challenge students to create class projects that can benefit the school or the community. Brainstorm ideas that cultivate the pillars of character, what the school stands for, our core values. Strive for a strong community spirit, even in this setup, in this online situation, in this pandemic. Have older students manage these projects, work with them to plan the steps necessary, guide them, but make them work, make them act, to keep character alive. Enlist the support of the community and the parents, because they too are concerned. I mean, many parents are concerned that my son is just at home the whole time. And he can finish kasi the asynchronous requirements very quickly. And then the rest of the time, Netflix, computer games. Tatanungin ko, tapos na siya. Papakita niya pa sa'yo, tapos na siya. Ay, oo nga. So, many of the parents, ang concern nila is how to keep my kid busy, how to keep them busy with doing good deeds. And instead of killing time with computer games so we have to use our imagination. The sky is the limit. There are so many things that we can do. But yes, character formation must go on. The pandemic is not an excuse for us to say, wala, hanggang doon na lang talagang makakaya natin. Great. We've reached the end of our session today. And as I always remind everyone, please send an email to get your certificate to iwantmycertificate@gmail.com. Okay? But please indicate now at least the date, July 14, or the name and title of the title of the seminar, and then the name as you want it to appear in the certificate, because now there are some asking for their certificate of Monday, of Tuesday. So to make it clear, indicate the title of the seminar. And then, want a copy of the PowerPoint? I can email it to you. Send the request to catalystpds@gmail.com. As I've already done with all those who requested for the PowerPoint. And then, my apologies, I was late in turning on the recording. But anyway, the last part is being recorded. So if you want a copy of that, perhaps for some teachers who got logged out or some teachers whom you want to hear the strategies, then please send an email to catalystpds@gmail.com. Okay? And tomorrow we will proceed on with the session on effective online learning, best practices from all over. And there will be two of us speaking, because I want someone at the forefront. I mean, someone who's really been also teaching high school boys online. He will share 30 minutes of his own strategies that he has discovered along the way. And I'm going to share a lot of strategies from here and there. Um, Not just for character formation now, but just for online teaching. And then on Saturday, on Friday is for the new teachers. And then on Saturday, we have another speaker, Dr. Ernie Grillo, who will talk about passion and purpose. Okay, well, that brings an end to our session today. I'd like to invite you to turn on your, let me see, your video if you want to be seen in the picture. That are only anyway 2 pages of us. Okay, let me take the picture for page 1 with that biggest, widest, fakest smile we will use to welcome the students. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, great. Page 2 now. Uh, Sorry, how is this? Okay. Smile in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, great. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us again today on our third day of 10 days of the Professional Teacher Series. We will, we hope to see you in our future seminars. Okay, I will be ending this meeting. The video will be available in 30 minutes or so. While the PowerPoint is already available for downloading, I have to send you the link where you can download the PowerPoint from. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. God bless. I'll end the meeting in 5, 4, stay safe, 3, 2, God bless, and 1.